Hi, I'm Scott Clancy, leader and coach. I think the world needs better leaders and coaches. I want to learn how to be both. Today, I want to talk about trust. The reason why I want to talk about trust is because I think it's foundational to leading and coaching. The definition of leadership has always been it's an emotional trust relationship. I got this from my friend Steve Nash, who thinks very deeply about leadership. I like that emotional trust relationship. A lot of leaders ask me, so Scott, pragmatically, how do you develop and maintain that trust? Okay, here's some tips. First of all, if it's a relationship, you have to establish the relationship. That means a personal connection between you and the people that you're leading and coaching as individuals. You're going to have a relationship with the team as a whole, yes, but you have to have a relationship with the individuals, and those individuals, that relationship cannot just be performance-based, it has to be based upon their development. That's where you start. Establish that connection. Okay. Second, you're gonna have to establish your own competence in the field within which you're leading or coaching. If you're coaching basketball, you have to study hard about basketball. You might be a young coach just coaching your kid. You're gonna have to study and get to know that kind of piece. Whatever it is, work hard at establishing your competence. That can help you with that connection, because you might have to reach out to some of those people you're leading for their expertise. Okay. Understand that trust is not an all or nothing thing. I either trust you or you don't. That there's dynamics in here, and that there's components to trust, reliability and sincerity. These are all elements and components of trust. So here's a couple of other pragmatic tips. First of all, if you're going to work at making sure that you maintain trust that you've established, hold yourself and your team accountable. And that accountability means that if you're going to set performance goals, if you're going to set development goals for themselves as individuals, for the team in terms of where they're getting to in terms of goals and how you lead, then those accountability pieces need to be very, very clear to everyone. And when they're not met, there needs to be consequences and or at least discussions about that. If you hold your team accountable for those things, if you hold the individuals accountable for that, and you hold yourself accountable to those two things, that will lead to growth in that leader, coach to team dynamic, but also as individuals as they trust you. Here's another tip, and my last one. It would be use a certainty bar with the people that you're working with in order to ensure that you know what they can do and that they know that they're trusted in so doing. That certainty bar is if they're certain that they're qualified to make decisions, if they're certain that they have the requisite authority to, that then they can just go ahead and do it. If not, then you ask the question, if I'm qualified and I'm supposed to be doing these things, but you won't allow me to, then you don't trust me, right? So use a certainty bar. If you're certain that I should be able to make this decision, I should be able to go ahead and do it. Those are the tips that I have. Remember that trust is an emotional, or leadership, sorry, is an emotional trust relationship. And how that trust works out, here are some tips for you to follow. I'm Scott Clancy. If you like what you hear, go to www.scottclancy.ca. Let's connect up. You and me, we can build better leaders and coaches.